people still working on it, and that's totally okay. The ones that are not working on it anymore will be picking out our felt colors today. And today we have gray, this like tan color, which I think is pretty cool. It's textured. Orange, purple, or violet, or light purple, or whatever you want to call it, and blue. Alright, I'm going to do my example on a scrap piece. Yours will be a little bit bigger than this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be printing. And we have a variety of inks to choose from. Remember, does anybody want to tell me what the criteria for your ink color is?
Doesn't have to be a color that, one, you can see on the top. It doesn't have to be like, I don't know how to pronounce it, but like a complementary color to like the
Remember, we're printing our stamp and we want it to be a similar color to the stuff. So, since I'm using this blue-gray here, I'm going to use blue as my ink color. And we have a bunch of different ink colors that I will get out once we're ready to roll here. You can always mix a little bit too, so say if I wanted mine to be a little bit grayer, I could put some like white and black in here just to mix it up a bit, and I'll show you how to do that. Of course I picked the one that is not good yet. And this stuff is not going to come out of your clothes. So, I want you to be careful, we do have aprons.
I have an apron.
You can wear.
Of course.
So it really does not take much. You're just going to need a tiny bit, and I will help you portion that out when we get your ink because it's expensive, so I don't want you to take too much. And then we're going to use what is called a brayer, basically a little roller, and you roll it out. You're going to go up and around, and you just want a nice flat layer of ink. You don't want it to quite like, you see here how the white space comes through? You don't want it to be like that. You want it to be more like in this area here. And it's going to make this noise that sounds kind of like Velcro. And then you're going to lay your stamp down flat and cover it with the ink, doing your best not to get the ink on anything you don't want to print. And then, how did I want you to print it? What kind of way did I want you to print it? Can I have somebody new? You already answered a question.
But I know this one.
Josh,
Radial? No, we're doing the sewing, the radial pattern. What about over here? We're going to either do a drop or a regular pattern. Does anybody want to define regular pattern for me? I'll give you another shot. Let's go.
Okay. It's like a pattern that's like it's just
It's regular. So
regular. It's normal.
It's like bump, bump, bump,
Yeah.
bump, like in a row.
Yeah.
Right. Now what's a drop pattern? Let's go back here.
Isn't it like a checkerboard?
It is like a checkerboard. Perfect. So I'm going to do a regular pattern. And I'm just going to square this up. It might be helpful if you take your pencil and make really light marks where you want your stamp to go so that you don't get it kind of crooked once you start going. And you'll just put it down. You can even, instead of rolling it on, kind of stamp the ink on there, but I want you to at least try to use the brayers once or twice, because that'll give you like a nice even coat. if you don't recall what your print looks like, the stamp pads are still out. So you can do another proof if you like, or if you want to kind of do like a sketch of what your pattern looks like on here, you can grab a piece of paper and use the stamp pads to make sure you're doing this the right way. Like I said, I'm going to go back through here and put marks where I'm putting this, or in the center of where my stamp is going to go. I know you can't really see it up there, but I can see it from where I am, and that's what matters, is that you can see it where you're stamping. And then while I'm doing this, let's go over how we are using our thread, which we might start tomorrow, depending on how far we get today. So, what kind of pattern are we making with our thread? A radial pattern, right. And what is a radial pattern? Somebody new. How about somebody at table 2? Somebody at table 2 want to tell me what a radial pattern is?
Both sides look the same.
Both sides, it is symmetrical. Where does it start?
It like fans out from the center.
It fans out from the center. Right. Anybody else want to tell me more about it?
It's like it's a circle.
It's circular. Now, does it necessarily have to start? So it starts at the center. Does the center have to be in the center of the paper, or can it be down here and we can have a radial pattern on half of it? It can start wherever. However, knowing that, we are still going to start in the center for our project because I think it will make a more interesting composition. What do you think? Alright. This is what we're doing today. Does anybody have any questions about it?
What happens if we finish this one?
What happens if we finish this today? I will just have to come up with something fun for you to do. How about that? I think it'll take up a pretty decent chunk of time. I just finished in 5 minutes, but I didn't mix my ink color. That takes a while. Alright. So I will call you up by table to come get your stamp in just a moment. Quick count again on who has finished it. You don't know? Okay, well, we'll figure it out. And you guys have all done your proofs? Alright, fantastic. Alright, so we've gone over drop pattern, radial pattern, regular pattern. What's the last pattern that we haven't gone over yet right now?
Irregular.
Irregular. And what is an irregular pattern?
It's crazy, it's just all.
It's all over the place. It's crazy. So does anybody want to come up to the board and draw an irregular pattern for me? Come on up. You're pretty enthusiastic. Why don't you come on up? Sorry, I shocked you. Oh, flower, getting creative here. See, this looks, stop right there for a second. What kind of pattern is that?
Radial.
Radial. What about an irregular? Make that into an irregular pattern.
Crazy cool.
I guess it works, yeah. It's not really like a radial pattern anymore. It's not regular, it's not symmetrical. But why don't we expand on it, since that kind of just looks like a mark. What do we put over here if it's irregular?
T.
A heart or something. And what about right here?
muffins and cupcakes are both delicious. So,
Okay, so that's an irregular pattern. What about a drop pattern? Someone draw me a drop pattern. You've been eager to volunteer today. I'll give you a chance to come up to the board.
I'm shocked. You've been shocking me for years.
Right, the drop pattern is like every other. So it's like if there were triangles in the center here, they were dropped down underneath it. Hence the name drop pattern, right? Crazy. Alright, so regular pattern. Who wants to change this drop pattern into a regular pattern?